When Gigabyte Aorus reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to take a look at their latest tactical monitor, I couldn't say no, guys, and the reason for that is that this is a 240Hz refresh rate monitor. It's called KD25F, it's made by Aorus and it's got 240Hz. In this video, I wanted to test this out. Does it matter? Does 240Hz matter? We're going to test 60 versus 144 versus 240Hz. A lot of numbers here to see if it actually matters. Let's get into it. Alright, so I've spent my last 2 weeks with this one, the KD25F made by Gigabyte Aorus. I've been testing and gaming and jumping back and forth between 60, 144 and 240 refresh rates. It's been a very interesting journey to say the least, in a positive way of course. Let's first look at 60 versus 144 versus 240Hz in action, what it means and what it feels like, and then after that let's look at some of the exclusive features that come with the KD25F monitor that makes it more interesting than other 240Hz monitors. Now, in case you're interested in a live reaction video I did where I recorded myself when I first tested 240Hz for the very first time, I'd recommend that video. You can find it down in the description. That video also covers more details about this monitor. What 240Hz gives you is basically 4 times as much information every second compared to 60Hz. This is because the panel is updating 240 times every second, so instead of getting a new frame every 16th millisecond as you normally do on a 60Hz refresh rate screen, you are essentially getting a new frame every 4th millisecond or so, which equals to a total of 240 frames every second. It's a lot of numbers, guys, but just try and follow me here. Let's say you have a standard 60Hz monitor. Even if the graphics card is able to give you more than 60 FPS, because of the limitation in the panel, you're still only going to see 60 FPS. As you can see in this example, we are getting well over 60 frames per second in CSGO, but because of the limited number of times the panel is able to update itself every second, you're not going to notice the much smoother frame rate without a faster monitor. In order to feel the much smoother gameplay, you need to make sure you're getting the equal amount of frames as well. This is 240 FPS gameplay, 4 times slowed down, so as you can see, very smooth gameplay. Here is 144 FPS, 4 times slowed down as well. This is still pretty smooth, right? But obviously not as smooth as 240. And lastly, we got this is 60Hz gameplay that I've slowed down 4 times, and as you notice, there's a lot more stutter present here. And this is the best way of showing how it actually feels, because you cannot record 240Hz and just show it on YouTube. This is something that you have to witness with your own eyes. Now, what I can say after switching back and forth between 240Hz and 60Hz is that you're definitely going to get used to the much faster refresh rate very quickly. Now, right before recording this video, I was playing a bit of Spider-Man on my PS4, and after been playing CSGO with 240 frames per second, it felt a bit weird. Now, I should say I'm no expert at Fortnite or CSGO, and my reactions are nothing to brag about, but a much faster refresh rate monitor such as 240Hz is going to give you the best possible edge against any other esports player. As always, when it comes to this type of stuff, I highly recommend trying this in real life, as video doesn't really justify it. Again, Linus Sebastian on LTT did a very good video covering this topic also, and I'll link that video up down below. Now let's dive a bit deeper into this particular monitor from Aorus. One interesting feature that the KD25F comes with is a port from the rapidness, the black equalizer, and Aorus describes this as a feature that can control the shadows of the display to enhance the contrast and increase the visibility of dark scenes without overexpose the bright area, and this can help you find enemies hiding in the dark, for example. Alright, now since Shadow of the Tomb Raider focuses heavily on shadows, there's a great deal of that in this game. As you can see, I figured this would make it a great game to test this in. Now right now we are playing in the middle of the day and there is quite a lot of lights in the room, so let's see what happens if we tweak this a bit. So as you can see now, some of the darker portions in the game is quite hard to see. But if we tweak the black equalizer quite a bit, we can see that information that was blacked out before is now visible again. So for example, we can even go higher than that if we want to. This is probably a bit too much. As you can see, if we lower this a bit, you see that we are actually losing a lot of information. So having this option of tweaking this back and forth can definitely help you find enemies in the dark, and for this game, yeah, it's a must. Now, the countdown is another such feature that I found quite interesting. Now, there are a lot of different ways that you can use this. Are you gonna play World of Warcraft Classic? Please let me know in the comments below. Obviously, since I've been playing back in the days, I'm definitely going to try it out. But anyway, there's a feature here I want to show you guys. This monitor actually has a timer, and the cool thing about this, let's say you're doing a boss fight, for example. Instead of going through the monitor settings here, you can reach the timer just by a few commands on your keyboard. So for example, I have a hotkey for this already, so I can just press Control Alt and 0 and get the timer going. Also, I can reset the timer just by pressing Alt and 0, and as you can see, now it starts ticking. I can pause it whenever I want to, and I can reset it whenever I want to. And the cool thing about this is that, let's say you're doing a boss fight and you don't want to be dealing with add-ons. I have a few friends that actually don't want to keep the game as clean as possible. So if you don't want to deal with add-ons, this can be a cool thing. If you, let's say, doing a boss fight and there are certain things happening, you know, at certain times, for example, you can use this timer to help you out, and it's quite nice. It's quite nice. Let's talk about the aim stabilizer, and this feature helps you reduce the blurriness of the recoil effect while you are shooting. It can also help you trace moving enemies much easier. Now, I played around with this quite a bit. It's subtle, but once activated, you feel that there is a less bit blur in the image when firing. Again, for more in-depth details about the difference between 60, 144 and 240 Hz, I highly recommend checking out Linus' video he did over on Linus Tech Tips, where they also covered the importance of fast reactions, and that is also very important. The difference between 60 and 240 Hz is huge, and I'm telling you that once you've invested in a quality 240 Hz monitor such as this one from Aorus, there's simply no way you want to go back to a 60 Hz experience. The smoothness and the non-existing input lag that I unconsciously learned to expect as a long-time gamer is long time gone, and again, this is something that you have to experience. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I also want to say thank you to Aorus for sending me this monitor. You can find more information about it down in the description. In the meantime, I highly recommend checking out the other video I did a few days ago that covers a lot more details about the specific monitor.